Welcome to the next episode of the Gametime Greatness Season 13 podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Usry. Joining me is the other host.
I'm the other host, Ethan Wright, GG5 and 10 champ.
It's game time, game time, game time. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. It's game time, game time.
Just waiting for
Welcome.
15 and 20.
Yeah, that's right. So not 13 then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm just preparing for the worst, so I'm
There
more
you
than
go.
okay with ruining the multiples of 5 trend. Any year is good with it.
So this week we've got a week 4 recap, just like we do every week. We're gonna play a little game called Two Truths and a Lie, where we've each prepared some questions for each other, just regarding some statistics. And we're going to give two truths and a lie, and you have to figure out which one the lie is. Then I have some questions for Ethan about his fantasy season, and he has some questions for me. And then we're going to go into our week 5 predictions. So we'll see how long this takes. We say that every week, and then it's like 40 plus minutes at least. So let's just get into it. Week 4 recap. Who do you have first, Ethan?
You and Zach.
Oh, me too.
Nice.
Okay.
Perfect. So, Zach,
yeah, go
I
ahead.
just have Zach equals sad again.
Oh, that's what I have. I have sad
Yeah.
Zach, 2 bad beats in a row.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good week, 157. It looks like Thielen is kind of the truth. I mean, he's not quite old Thielen, but it is kind of nice to have his namesake actually be good. When he, literally agreed to never start him. He was only there for the namesake, and now he's probably his best or second best receiver. No,
I would say,
second
yeah.
or third.
I mean, Devontae Adams.
Yeah, Adams.
Adams
and
got
then
hurt for part of that game and had a
Godwin.
touchdown called back. So Zach could have very well won that game with Adams playing full game.
And Adams was a goose the first half, and then I checked after the game was over. I was like, "Wow, he got 15." So Zach was
I know.
really
I was
sad about
surprised
that,
too.
but you got to be satisfied with 15. I mean, all he was lacking was the touchdown there. On your side, I think Christian Kirk's kind of a big deal for you. I think everyone was really down on him after week 1, and I kind of had him off my board completely. I didn't want him or Ridley. I just didn't know what was going to go on with that offense, and Kirk looks legit. A-Chain is
I just figured
fun, but
yeah.
you going to say something about Kirk?
Yeah, I just figured with Kirk, like he's probably going to be the wide receiver 2 on an offense that looks like it's getting better. And so that's what I thought. And it turned right for the first 4 weeks, he's kind of been the go-to guy for Trevor Lawrence. We'll see how that changes. But I'm pleasantly surprised with Kirk so far.
I was listening to the footballers this morning. I think it was yesterday's episode, and Andy was surprisingly still in on Ridley, and I'm completely out on Ridley. I think Kirk's the guy. I know Zay Jones is out, and Kirk is getting that. Maybe he's getting some of that outside work. I don't really know where he's lining up. But I mean, he's had a whole month of good production. So even if when Jones comes back, maybe this week, I still assume he's going to be the guy. So I don't really know the whole still being in on Ridley thing. I think it looks like it's Kirk's.
Yeah, so I was watching the Toy Story version because I was at work. I was at the fire station on Sunday, so I didn't get to go to church. But so I was watching the thing on my phone on Disney Plus, and it was really interesting to watch. First of all, it's kind of fun.
Super buggy the first couple drives. It just stopped, and then it just had the announcers. I was watching on the way to church, and Abby was really mad that we were going to wreck the car, but it was worth it.
All right. Last thing I'll say about that matchup, it's really the first strong performance by my team, and I'm ready to call Jahmyr Gibbs a bad pick. But I'm lucky to be 4-0 with it. So
I think he got drafted too high, but I still don't think he's going to be worthless. Like, he's still worth starting most weeks.
Yeah.
Like, he 8, 12, 9, 9, that's not great, but I mean, if you can make him RB2, obviously he's not going to return on your draft value, but there's still upside with him, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe.
It's a bad at the 2-3 turn, and Monty looks really good. So
yeah, maybe not.
All right.
Hope or maybe not upside, but at least hope. Like hope that
Yeah.
he could get carries one day. But
If he gets
I
up
don't
to
know.
like 15 points, whatever, I'll be happy. He hasn't found the end zone yet. But anyway, let's move on. Who do you have next?
Up next, I had me
Okay,
and Jarbo.
Jarvis. It looked like it would be close going into Monday night, and then your defense put up 30. And I was just like, what in the world? It's
Brandon
just
was
crazy.
looking over my team 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about how good Grant's bench was, which I'll probably touch on that later. But
Yeah.
he was like, "Well, your bench sucks because you have two defenses," and Seattle was the one I was holding because I wanted them for this matchup, and it's so well worth the hold. I was terrified. I could just see it coming down to the wire, and then
hmm
I gave it a 50-50 shot whether I could pull it off or not. I wasn't like super confident, but
I mean, if
worked
your
out and being
defense
by
just had a
21.
regular night
I
with
know.
8 points, you would have lost. Like,
I think I needed 18, and if they had like Lockett got me 9, so they would have needed like the full 9 or 10
yeah,
to get me
yeah,
there. So
exactly.
it was really clutch. And on
But
Jarvis's side, um, I mean, he had a good week, kinda. He was really just carried by the top three guys in his roster:
yeah, I
Lamar,
put that
Diggs,
he
and
had
Ayuk.
I put that he had a solid performance. Obviously, those guys were a little top heavy, but he was still
Yeah,
without Saquon too. So
he's without
I think,
Saquon, and he really only had two guys in his roster like perform bad. Maybe three if you count Mixon at 8. Like everyone else hit a floor, and he really got lucky with
yeah,
Singletary throwing a touchdown, which made me really mad. But like he didn't have a bad
yeah,
week. I mean, 152 is a
yeah,
great score regardless of how you get it. I mean, when you look at my
hmm
173, like I had 140, I had 150. I had an average week without Seattle going off. But
yeah,
it was kind of encouraging to like my team has overperformed the first 3 weeks, and that's great, feels great, but it was kind of carried by like someone exploding every week. And this week I felt like I had more of a floor play. I'm sure I'll get some hate for calling 173 a floor play, but like
No, I was
no
looking
one on
at
my
that.
team really exploded. Like everyone was just 10 to
Except for the
15
defense.
ish, and then my defense got 30 and Kyron Williams got 27. But
Yeah,
like 20, if I got one player overperforming plus my defense. So it was kind of nice just to
yeah.
see everyone's floor and like that all add up to still a good
No,
performance.
I think what like everyone hit their projections pretty much for you,
Yeah.
except Tua a little underperformed, but your defense and Kyron more than made up for it.
Yeah. And some of it was game flow. Like CD wasn't
Yeah,
needed. St. Brown wasn't needed. Like there
yeah.
was no need to throw. Um, Same with James Cook. Like,
Lockett.
yeah,
Yeah.
Lockett, all those games, like half my games were blowouts. So like
hmm
in the real NFL. So I didn't really there wasn't really
Yeah.
a chance for them to overperform.
All right. Now that we've done our two matchups, let's quickly run through these other ones. Who do you got next?
I had Cole and Brandon.
I put Cole picks up his second win, but the team is unimpressive right now.
For Cole, I had complete fraud.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote.
Um, I put poor Brandon. He is easily the most unlucky player in the league right now.
Yeah.
It's tragic what is happening to old B Scotty over there.
Like obviously
Uh,
111 is a bad score, but when you look at how it happened, like big names Higgins and Waddle, trash. His running backs, Madison and White, neither one of them are like stellar, but they both got exact same 10.8. So that's a solid floor. I don't know. It's just kind of sad.
it just
Hopefully
he's
Cup
got the
comes
injury
back.
bug on his roster too.
Yeah, it's
Like
very
T
contagious
Higgins
there.
got hurt in that game, and plus Joe Burrow being walking around on one leg trying to play isn't working.
I don't know
So
why he
that
looks so
affects
bad.
that affects his only receiver that's left on his roster pretty
He
much.
just looks
But
awful. And
yeah,
Hawkinson got 4. That game was kind of weird for the Vikings.
that was a weird
Hopefully
game. Yeah.
that should be an outlier for Hawk. On Cole's
Yeah,
side,
he's still the tight end one on the season though.
yeah, he's been great. On Cole's side, I don't really want to give him any advice to help him out, but this guy, I think some of these he
He's not going
dropped.
to watch this anyway.
Yeah, he's not going to watch this anyway. Some guys, I know he just dropped some, but he has like 3 empty roster spots when I'm looking at it right now, and waivers have already gone through. So he's just not filling his roster.
Yeah, I saw that
Jonathan
too.
Taylor is on his regular roster, not his IR. So really four empty spots, and half his starting roster should be dropped. Drop AJ Dillon, drop Kyle Pitts. Like, why are you starting these guys? I don't
Well,
like. I know he doesn't have another running back, but go make a trade. Go pick somebody up. Like
yeah, a
his RB
trade
two is
is in
literally AJ
order.
Dillon.
There's nobody on the waiver wire.
But
But
there was like in past weeks, and he just sat
yes, you're
there
right. You're
complacent
right.
with AJ Dillon. Like he could have bid up on Jerome Ford, even like
Yeah,
Josh Kelly and Justice Hill. Like he could have done something because I think Dillon's been his
yeah,
RB2 since draft night.
yeah. It
Cole, I
has.
love you, but this is a pitiful performance by a past champion. Maybe we
Yeah,
need to
I
do
put
some
that
unscrewing on
he
the
had a
title.
great game. He had a great game out of AJ Brown and Derrick Henry, but he had four
That was
skill
it.
players with less than 3 points on his roster, on his starting roster.
He had
So,
three with two or under.
well, yeah, I was gonna do that, but then I
Then you
forget
can throw
who it
Cooper in
was.
there.
Somebody had,
Cooper has
yeah,
two
he
point
had like
six.
2.6. So I was like,
Oh,
you
it's
know what,
really
that's
bad.
low enough to notify. And
And his defense also has
four
three.
four less than three, yeah. And defenses are sometimes kind of a roll of the dice, and like everybody's rolling the
Yeah,
dice.
but
But
I know Dak sucks, but why would you start New England defense against Dallas?
I don't know that Bill
Unless,
Belichick hype. I don't know,
I don't
but
know, maybe the Cardinals got him hyped about
yeah.
the Cowboys sucking.
All right, who you got next?
Jake and Grant.
All right, I put much needed win for Jake, but Puka and CMC got pretty much half of his points. Like
Yeah, I
that.
actually did the math. It's exactly 80 points between the two of them, which is
Yeah,
48.3% of his points.
I also did the math, but I wanted to say half because that sounded better than 48%.
It's half.
Give or take 2 points,
We round up. It's
something
half.
like that. I put all of Grant's players pretty much underperformed except for Mark Andrews and the Cowboys defense, who continues to be a steal. I don't know how great they'll do this week, but they could get a takeaway or two. So,
Interesting note on both of them is Grant has like insanely stellar defense, and I think the kickers have kind of been overscoring as a whole this year. But Jake,
mhm.
having Maher, he's kind of been unreal. I don't know. I didn't look to
Yeah, he
see who was
has.
number one, but every week I look at it and it's like
I think he's
16.7,
number two right
14,
now.
9, 10, and 16. Like, yeah, who in the world is one? Like, that's so high.
I put look for Grant to bounce back from this. He's playing me this week. We'll talk about our predictions for that a little later, but
My two notes on Jake and Grant were Jake was flaming me for, I wasn't even complaining about my team. I was just commenting. And he was like, look at, oh, is Ethan complaining about Kyan Williams having 6 touchdowns on the season? And I don't think I ever complained about that or really anything purposely because I knew Jake would pipe up and, chime in about it. But right after he said that, CMC scored 4 times and Puka got a game winning touchdown in overtime. So that
yeah,
was half of his points. So Jake, pipe down about your touchdowns. You got your share. And for Grant, I mentioned this a second ago. Last week we were all talking about how deep Grant's team was. And
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row, he had a very deep
Yeah,
bench with like overperformance from all of his, for lack of a better word, scrubs. And that's kind of what they looked like this week was, yeah, he has a bunch of startable players, but this week we kind of saw that those are players with a floor. Um,
yeah,
like Mostert 5, Ford 9, Zach Moss 9, and he's probably irrelevant from here on out. Javonte Williams got hurt. Addison
yeah,
Goose, I don't think that's something that's going to be fine. Quentin
yeah.
Johnston spent up
That'll
on that
regress.
trash. Robert Woods 5, Damian Pierce 11, great. But like all these guys that we thought gave Grant great depth, I think they still do, and there's a lot of value of having all those startable players. But I don't know, it's kind of scary from a manager perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's some things to be worried about there, but also like at least you have some depth where
Yeah,
not a lot of rosters do. So,
I'd rather have depth than not have depth.
okay, who you got next?
Parker and CC.
I put Parker absolutely popped off with Josh Allen and Nico Collins. Mike Evans and Pickens were a little slow, but it really didn't matter.
Yeah,
Obviously,
Evans left
Parker
with
had
that
a huge
injury.
week.
I just put
Mahomes and
he's good.
Kelsey, yeah, Mahomes and Kelsey really hindered CC this week, but it is good to see Josh Jacobs is back, just like
Yeah,
last year after the first 3 weeks.
yeah.
So,
I was definitely I knew CC would move him, but in every other league I'm in, I was trying to get Josh Jacobs. Nobody
yeah,
wanted to move just because it's hard to sell low on a first round guy.
yeah,
Kenneth Walker had that. I don't know if you watched that game. Like
I
the
did.
first drive,
Yeah.
he had that he
It was
thought he
like the
wasn't
first play
down.
or
Yeah, I think
something.
was
Yeah.
the first play from scrimmage for them, and like 80-yard touchdown. That would have got CC a little excited. Still would have lost, but
Oh, yeah, he still would have lost. Yeah.
DJ Moore's looked really good for him. That was probably my biggest surprise about his roster. I know last week was probably an outlier for the Bears, but he's still been pretty solid, and I thought he was going to be complete
Yeah.
trash.
He'll
So that's
still get like 8 or 9 targets a
yeah,
game for sure.
like
So,
sucks that's his wide receiver one right now, but
yeah.
still encouraging.
Yeah.
On Parker's
Mhm.
side, literally all I wrote was he's good, and then small names, big production. Dobbs has been good for him. Nico Collins is, I mean, another footballer's note. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Waddle. They were talking about who would you trade Waddle for, and Andy said he would trade Waddle for Ridley, and I thought that was insane. But he also said he
Agreed.
wouldn't trade Waddle for Collins, and I'm like, he's been nothing but elite. I don't care that he's on the Texans. Like he's had
Yeah,
two
me
weeks of
neither.
like 30.
The
He's only had
Texans
one bad week.
the Texans are fun to watch. Like,
Stroud looks good. Nico Collins.
yeah.
Brandon was talking in the group message that Jake should have liked him because he didn't realize he was 6'4". Like Nico's a big dude. I mean, this is
Yeah.
like some Megatron looking size, not skill level sadly, but size. Like there's no reason he
Yeah.
can't continue to be a top 10 guy all year. And their run game doesn't look great, so they're just chunking it. Tank Dell's looked good except for this week. But yeah,
Yeah.
Parker's receiver depth is really good. Hopefully Evans escapes an injury there. Pacheco's been a lot better than I thought he would. I didn't like
Yeah,
him at
no kidding. All right, last we got Noah and Mike, the ugliest matchup of the week.
all. Yeah.
Noah scrapes by with a win with 101 points. That being said, his quarterback was 34 of those points. It was just not a good week for Noah's roster. So I expect some regression back towards where
I'm
Noah's
sure
normally
it's
sitting
not
at. But
the lowest winning score ever, but it's got to be up
yeah,
there.
it's
I wanted to
low.
look back, but I didn't have the time to go find it. But 101 and winning, that's insane. Mike
Yeah.
kind of helped him out a bit. Mike
By
had
not starting a quarterback.
yeah, like what are you doing, man? I don't think it was the
The
last minute
integrity of game
information.
time greatness is being called into question.
Another
This
former
is
champion
3 weeks
doesn't
in a
know how to play
row.
fantasy football.
Yeah, 3 weeks in a row, people have started people who are out in their roster, and there's not even buys yet. Like, what are
My
we
note was
doing?
that Mike, UCC, and Jarvis need to start like a bad at fantasy football club just because you don't know how to set your rosters. Pretty embarrassing. But then
Yeah,
also like I don't know why you're starting Tank Bigsby. You think he's some sort of meme or hype trend right now? You were super hype about drafting him, and he's been absolute hot garbage all year.
yeah. I
He's not
liked him.
getting work.
I liked him before week one,
I
but
guess he
even
was
but I know
hoping.
now that I don't. Yeah.
I know. I guess he was hoping for a goal line plunge, but I know Eckler's out. But still,
Well,
like
all he
if you
needed
had
was a
picked up a
quarterback to
random,
score
I
18
know.
points.
What's bad is he had Purdy on his bench who scored 23. He would have won, and then we could have made fun of Noah for losing. Instead, Noah gets a win at 101 points. I don't
That's
know.
tragic.
Half of his points,
Yeah.
like you said, were Richardson and McLaurin. I think Debo was
Yeah.
a fluke. I don't know if he was fully
Oh,
healthy,
for
but
sure.
still.
Well, I mean, they just didn't need to use him.
Yeah.
They were just cruising with CMC. So
Noah, I'll say this: your schedule's been very favorable. You should not be undefeated. You might want to look into changing your name back to overrated. Also, when I'm trying to find Mike's team, my eyes just go to Michael Anthony Jones, and it's so annoying. It's like that's Mike. It has to be him. It's his name.
So there's our recap. So now we're gonna move on to two truths and a lie. I'll go first, and then you give me one. We'll alternate. I kind of cheated on the first one. This is actually going to be 3 truths and a lie. Okay, only one of these players has thrown an interception. The other 3 have thrown 0. CJ Stroud,
Zero.
Brock Purdy, Anthony Richardson, Josh Dobbs. Which one has thrown an interception?
I think it's Richardson.
That is correct. It's Anthony
Oh,
Richardson. CJ Stroud has not thrown an interception. Brock
I think
Purdy, that one, I kind of believe their team is just so good. And Josh Dobbs has not thrown an interception.
the Dobbs one surprises me. I just had personally witnessed Richardson throw one, so I knew he had.
That was
The
what I was
Dobbs
worried
one is
about. Was
really
like I
surprising.
witnessed it also.
The
Yeah.
Dobbs one is surprising. I knew the Stroud one because I think it's an NFL record to start a career, like by a
Yeah.
wide margin, like over 100 attempts, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. And
Yeah.
then the Purdy one goes back until like last season. He's also never
Yeah.
lost a regular season game.
Yet. Week
Yet.
5, playing the Cowboys. Ooh,
Please,
maybe.
please end the streak.
Please, please.
Please.
They won't. They'll let us down like always. But
Go ahead and give me all of yours because I only have 2 truths and 1 lie for you. And mine
okay.
involved some stat research. So go ahead and give me yours.
These 3 teams find the lie. These 3 teams have a top 12 wide receiver and a top 24 wide receiver. The Los Angeles Rams, the Houston Texans, and the San Francisco 49ers.
Which one doesn't?
Which one does not have a wide receiver 1
Oh,
and a wide receiver 2?
what was the last one? The 49ers? I think it's the 49ers because I think
It,
Tutu and Puka would be 1 and 2 and Nico and Tank.
yeah. And
And Debo
then
just put up 0.6, so I don't know if he's in it.
yeah, but he had that huge week 3 or whatever
But
against Brandon.
didn't he miss week 1?
Debo?
Yeah.
No, Ayuk missed a week, but I don't
Oh,
think
okay.
Debo did. But
I'm gonna
I
go
don't know.
49ers still.
Either way, that's correct.
Oh, that's so bad.
Um,
They were drafted
let's
high.
see. Well,
The other guys were all in
they're
draft
both
except Nico.
they're both top 24 wide receivers, but just neither of them cracked the top 12. So
Okay.
it's not like it's terrible or anything. Um, also note AJ Brown and Devonta Smith are both top 12, but
Dang.
so
The Smith
those are
one surprises me.
those are all the teammates in the top 24. But yes, Puka is wide receiver 4 on the season, and then Tutu is like 19. Nico is 7, and Tank Dell is 23. But Ayuk and Debo are let's see, Ayuk is 14 or 15, and Debo's 18. So it's just interesting. You know, you never would have expected Puka and Nico to be top 7 wide receivers, but and then Tank Dell and
Tank just
Tutu
barely snuck in
Atwell
there.
also. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. My last 2 truths and a lie is all about Kyle Pitts. Okay? I'm going to give you 3 statements. One of them is false. Devon Achane has double the career touchdowns as Kyle Pitts. Jonnu Smith has more targets on the season than Kyle Pitts. His teammate also plays tight end on the Falcons. Jonnu Smith has more targets. Okay, and the third one is Kyle Pitts was outscored by 3 Jets tight ends in week 4.
Whoa. That's hard.
Okay,
I
I'll say them
know
again
Kyle Pitts
if you
did
want.
not score. I know him. I know Kyle Pitts didn't score at all, maybe his rookie year, maybe once. So it's just whatever he had last year, because I don't think he scored this year, maybe once. And A Chain has 6, maybe 7. So the Jonnu when the footballers actually said, I don't know if they said he has 1 more or 1 less. I can't remember.
Oh, I didn't listen to footballers today, I guess.
I can't remember if it's
If
1
it-
more or 1 less, but it's within 1. And the last one was the Jets. The Jets one's got to be a lie. There's no way.
The lie is Jonnu Smith.
No.
Jonnu has 20 targets and Kyle Pitts has 21.
Yeah, it was okay. One under. I couldn't remember.
Kyle Pitts was outscored by 3 Jets tight ends in week 4. And I don't remember all their
Conklin,
names. I should have.
Uzama.
And there's some other guy.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's so
And then Devon Achane has 6 career touchdowns, and Kyle Pitts had 1 his rookie year and 2 his sophomore year.
Dang, only 2.
And 0 this year. So he does have double the touchdowns.
That one worried me because I was thinking maybe he had like 4 last year. I knew it wasn't a lot, but Cole, drop him. Stupid.
Yeah, for real. He is not shouldn't be rostered, much less started.
Trash. I don't think he's trash. The Falcons are trash. Jake, fix it.
Jake, fix it.
So,
all right, what do you got for me?
I did not know the rules. I was bringing you exactly one set of 2 truths and a lie, but
that's fine. I didn't really explain it super detailed.
A little more extravagant. So I went through, and Yahoo used to give us this stat in our recaps of like what your record would be if you played everyone every week. And I thought those were fun. And they stopped that either this year or last year. I think this year. So I went and did it through 4 weeks. And I tallied up how many losses everyone would have if they played everyone each of the 4 weeks to give us kind of a new adjusted rankings. And I will go through the old rankings first. We have me on top, then Matt, then Noah, Parker, Grant, Jake, Cole, Brandon, CC, Jarvis, Mike, and Zach. So obviously Zach is at the bottom and he's pretty sad about that. And I'm on top. So I stay on top.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the reason you did these stats
to make yourself look so good.
You can look good. I only have 4 losses. 1 in week 1, then 2, then 0 because I had top and then 1. So that's great. After that, it is Parker with 16, Matt with 18, and then Noah, Zach, and Grant all tied with 20, I believe. And then Brandon with 23, CC with 24, Jake with 25, Jarvis with 27, and then Mike with 32, and then Cole with 35. A little bit of a spread there of how things switch around. So kind of is more an accurate representation of, who's actually been good versus who's had an easy schedule. So my 2 truths and a lie are this. Number 1, Zach's complaints are very valid, and he would be a top 6 team. I know I just told you the answers to this, but let's see if you remember them. If CC and Noah switch schedules, Noah's 4-0, CC is 1-3. Noah would be 1-3, and CC would be 3-1. And no one's adjusted rank changed more than 6 spots. Which is the lie?
The last one is a lie. Because I think you said that Zach was 5th. I think. And he's currently last. So
that is correct. I wish I had done this the other way and not told you. Zach went from 12 to 5th, tied with who's he tied with? I think Grant and Noah. Zach's got Grant on points by like 2, I think, but he's 5th. So Zach, your complaints are pretty valid. And you would be currently a playoff team with a better schedule. And yes, CC, if you had Noah's cupcake schedule, you'd be 3-1. Noah, you have a cupcake schedule. If you had CC's harder one, which really is middle of the pack, you'd be 1-3. So don't get too cocky over there with your undefeated schedule. So congrats, Zach. You moved from 12 to 5 with only 20 losses. Cole went from 7 to 12, so also a big jump.
Yeah, man, that is pretty interesting. Actually,
all the rest were kind of close, like within 1, 2, or 3. Also, gives you some justification for being undefeated. You went from 2 to 3, so you had an easy schedule, but still performed.
All right, that's fair. Okay, so you got some questions for me, Ethan, about my roster or about my fantasy season or anything?
What is your favorite currently rostered player? Not the best, but your favorite.
Justin Jefferson. He's probably up there. Him and Achane.
I refuse.
both players I drafted in Dynasty on their in a rookie draft. So that is special to me because I feel as if I scouted them, and I was like, that's my guy. I've had Justin Jefferson in a lot of leagues, so I'll probably say him. But man, if Achane continues to be really good, then I'll say him eventually. But right now, it's Justin Jefferson, and he is the best, but he still also is my favorite. Like that's why I picked number one overall is to get him.
Next, what is the most overrated and underrated team this year?
I just heard some stats that make me think the most overrated team might be Noah's team, but he's always pretty lucky in fantasy.
Yeah.
He's good. He's good at fantasy for sure, but he also seems to always have a good amount of luck on his side, which is a huge element in fantasy anyway. But so I'll say Noah's probably the most overrated. Most underrated. I mean, it's hard not to say Zach at this point. So I'll either go with Zach or Brandon. I think Brandon's just been incredibly unlucky.
Yeah.
He should have some players coming back from injury. And if the Bengals sit Joe Burrow for like a week or two and then the bye week, then he can maybe get back healthy. And then who knows? Like he could have Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, and Deontay Johnson all rolling out full force in a few weeks. So I'll say somewhere in between Brandon and Zach, but for now, I'll go with Zach. Underrated player. Watch out.
I would have gone with more middle of the pack guys. I was going to go with Grant for overrated. Not that I think his team's bad, but again, we talked about the depth thing earlier. Maybe lacking a little firepower, but depth is good, and maybe he can flip that depth into something else. Parker,
Yeah.
I said underrated. He is towards the top of the rankings, and with our adjusted rankings we talked about, he was near the top. I think he has a lot of, no-name guys that we talked about earlier that are just being really good depth for him. As we saw
for
this
sure.
week, he had the highest scoring week, so he has that pop to him. So that's pretty nice for him. So our third question for Matt is, do you want any of Cole's tight ends?
Wait, who does he even have?
I think Kittle, Pitts. He has Komet on his bench. Maybe another one. I don't know. There's always like 12.
I definitely don't want Pitts. I definitely don't want Komet. The question is Kittle. Do I want Kittle? Kittle's going to have good weeks, and he's going to have trash weeks.
Yeah.
Which honestly, that's about as good as you can ask for a tight end. So yeah, I guess for the right price, I would take Kittle. Right now, I'm rolling out with what's his face, Higbee.
I kind of regret dropping him now.
Well, here's the thing: is Kupp's about to come back, and if they're going to hyper target Kupp and Puka, then I don't see a lot of work for Higbee.
Yeah,
so,
and I'm sure Tutu will still be involved a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, and Kyron has a buttload of targets too, so I just don't see the workload for Higbee from here on out. I've got my other option is Musgrave, so I don't know.
I'm rolling with Zach Ertz and Logan Thomas.
I think I'd rather start Kittle than Musgrave and Higbee once Kupp gets back. So
definitely not at his draft price. I mean, he's only had one good week. He had one catch last week, I think. So I don't know. Not worth the draft price, but he's
once Kupp comes back, I'm going to start Musgrave until I see that Stafford's still interested in Higbee.
Yeah,
so
for a touchdown.
That's my plan for now, I guess. So it's looking bleak at tight end for everywhere, but especially on my roster.
This year feels a little worse than normal.
All right. My question's for Ethan. Which of these teams will handle the hype the best? The Dallas Cowboys or high yield CD 88% APY?
Oh, no. Me, obviously. Definitely high yield CD parentheses, 88% APY close parentheses.
You think that team will handle the hype the best?
Well, it's either trust myself or trust Dak. So I trust myself. I guess I have to trust Dak a little bit too because I have to hope CD's good. He hasn't been great.
Okay, and sub question to that: who would you rather win it all? You cannot say both.
Dang. Oh, that's hard. Um, Probably the Cowboys.
Yeah,
That's really
I'm
hard,
with you.
but
I'd rather the
I
Cowboys
have two
win than
championships, and I'm fairly confident I can get, more in the future. If this is the
yeah.
shot for the Cowboys, give me that. I mean, they haven't won one my entire life. They probably won't win one the rest of my
Hey,
life.
no,
So if I can cash in on that, I'm doing it.
I also would rather the Cowboys win the Super Bowl than you win the championship.
That's fair.
Okay. What is your biggest fear for GG13?
Probably that I somehow miss playoffs or Noah wins a championship.
I had a feeling that you were going to
Yeah.
say that Noah win.
Yeah. Him or Jake's been a little mouthy to me in the GM. Jake winning would suck. Yeah, we're gonna with Noah. Noah winning the championship would be my worst GG fear because that would put him on top.
Yeah, it's just he's such a good villain.
I mean, nobody, anybody who has two other than me winning would be bad because currently nobody has three. He
Yeah.
is a villain. You're welcome, Noah. I know you love that.
Okay. So your roster is pretty good, okay?
For now.
So I
We'll,
didn't
we'll
really
see.
have a whole lot of none of my questions really were, I don't know, like my normal questions for other people. So my third question is, what jersey are you going to get?
No, I refuse. I refuse to answer. Ah, I chose the Cowboys winning and not me. So I'm gonna go get a pick somebody on
The
my
CD
team.
Lamb jersey?
No, a Michael Parsons jersey.
All right. Well, there you go. There you have it. For those are our questions for each other. Um, all right. Week 5 predictions. I'll start it off with me versus Grant. The battle of the Dolphins running back.
That's what I wrote. I wrote HN versus Mostert.
All right. I circled Grant in this one.
I went with you. If this is
Woo!
truly the battle of the RBs, I'm gonna go with the young hotness. Mostert looked
Young
decrepit last week.
hotness. Ooh.
Ooh, spooky.
Okay. Jackson Jarvis versus Brandon Scott. Who do you got?
I've got B Scotty because Higgins won't play. So he can't get a bad
Ooh.
game from Higgins. So therefore, he has a better chance of winning because Higgins equals trash. And there's hope for Cup. I don't think Cup plays this week, but we don't know yet.
I don't think so either, to be
I'd
honest.
be
So
surprised if he played next week, but at least
I
there's the
said
hope.
Jarvis.
I
I said
also wrote that
Jarvis.
this is
As
going to be
he,
the matchup of the week.
yeah. So I put that also. So I
Good.
circled Jarvis. He's getting Saquon back, which the Giants desperately need a spark,
Yeah.
but they're still missing like 3 or 4 O linemen. So I don't really know. But
I wouldn't
I
be
circled
surprised if
Jarvis
Saquon
this
had
week.
10 catches.
I've also picked Brandon the last 2 weeks and he lost both of them. So
So it's your fault.
this is more
Brandon,
for
get
Brandon
him.
that I'm picking Jarvis. So
I think they've both kind of been up and down all year, but they have good players, so it should be a
yeah.
close game.
Okay. Parker versus Noah. I put this as like if the other one wasn't the matchup of the week, this one is.
I forgot to write that one down, but Parker.
Okay, I put Noah. So far we have 3 different answers. For our three predictions, we've made the opposite prediction
We are
of each
not in
other.
sync. We'll go with Parker
All
just
right.
because I don't know. Noah's got some question marks. Parker's been looking solid, so see if he can repeat that big performance splash.
Yeah. This one I think we may agree on. Ethan Michael Wright versus Michael Baker.
Michael Baker. We will go with Ethan.
I have Ethan circled as well.
I think
His
he's
team
pretty
looks
good.
Wow,
Looks good.
so conceited. Okay.
I do have my first 2 buys though. Keenan's out.
Yeah, but you're
Lockett's
still
out.
projected 145. Like I was
Yeah.
like, he's projected high with Keenan not playing and whatever that Lockett not playing.
What are the other guys?
Like Yeah,
I'm
I
starting
couldn't remember off the top of
Wandale,
my head.
so I don't know. Wandale could be a wild card. Mike gets Kamara back. Kamara looked good last week with Derek Carr being able to throw approximately 5 feet.
13
So
catches for 33 yards.
okay, good for
That's
fantasy.
crazy.
I think that was an
Good for
NFL
fantasy, yeah.
record for like least yards per catch on 13 catches or something.
And he can't get Eckler back this week because they're on bye. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm going with Ethan this week. All right, Jake Vassar versus Zach Chambers.
I'm gonna go with Zach. He has to win eventually, and I
Yeah,
don't
I
I don't
also
want to
have
I don't want to project this dude to go 0-5. He might off himself. So Zach,
yeah,
I
I
have
also have
faith in
Zach
you.
circled.
Like, I mean, we
I
went through
also
those win stats or most lost stats. Zach is, middle of the pack. I think he was ahead of Jake. Jake's been up and down.
yeah,
Maybe Puka's going to be scared that Cup's coming back soon, and he what's the bet? I don't know.
maybe it's a Higby week. I hope.
Ooh, a Higby
So
week.
yeah, I have Zach circled, and I expect to see a lot of Zach in the group chat this week. So
I'm ready for Zach to
uh,
call GG at 12:45 and then come back and win in the 3 o'clock game.
yeah, it sounds about right. Okay, last one. Underwhelming matchup. These people aren't going to even listen. CC versus Cole.
I just wrote dumpster fire.
I have CC circled because, as we all think, Cole's roster is a fraud. So
Cole's a complete fraud. I also wrote CC. I also noted that Cole, I think, has 4 players on bye, and he probably won't check, so they'll probably stay there. I think he's
he
projected
always
like
checks it.
70
I
points.
feel like he checks his lineup. He just, yeah, I don't
Right.
know.
If it was
But
CC, they would stay there.
yeah, that's true. All right. Well, that's all we got for you. Thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, comment.
Also,
Did you
on the
like our?
YouTubes, comment below if you listen and you're not in this league because we get like 20 something views, and I know only 9 of our members watch this.
Yeah.
Hello.
I know. Here, I have a shout out actually because Lane Capel told me he watches our podcast. So shout out
Lane
to Lane.
Capel.
Yeah, I love that guy. All right. If you're what,
Lane, trade me Garrett
like you
Wilson in
said,
Dynasty.
yeah. All right. That's all. We'll see you next week.
Adios. GG.